Hey, y'all. Not quite Team Jennifer, it's Team Texas, but we've got Texas by way of Scotland because Katie Gideon is hanging out in the chat. We have been together all so long. Katie's giving you a wave. It is middle of the night for her. She was so sweet to pick up some of these late night events. So I'm not going to say that I'm tired because I cannot be nearly as tired as Katie doing all these events in the middle of the night. But yeah, we've been, I guess everybody else had like lots of fun stuff to do this weekend because Katie and I have been taking care of all of the monthly setups and weekly setups. And this is the last monthly setup for October. And y'all, it's here. You made it. You made it through September. So pat yourself pat yourself on the back. We are yeah, Katie's already in October. Yeah, it's October 1 where she is. So yeah, welcome. Make sure that your chat is sent to everyone. We are very privileged to be with you as we do a little journaling tonight and a little bit of setting up so that we can jump into this new month with a new theme. And yeah, so here we are. So I have this little graphic. Pick something that you love there. I know there's some talking in the chat about hygge, the kind of Scandinavian mindset of all things cozy. And I'm so ready to embrace a little bit of hygge. It is still pretty toasty in Texas. Y'all, I wore my state fair shirt. It is currently the State Fair of Texas. I think it goes on for 3 weeks. So I'll be looking forward to going next week. My husband and I go every year now that we live up here. I used to be down on the Gulf Coast, so I'm in the Dallas area. Anyway, so pick a fall favorite there, and then you have a little affirmation that goes with that graphic that you see. And so some of those affirmations can really guide our month. What I desire desires me, or I let go of what no longer serves me. We have this really great theme now of resilience coming right off of the heels of bravery. I love how those two are paired together. So it's going to be a good month. So community, welcome. Some of we've already seen there's a couple of new folks already hanging out in the chat. So if you've never been to a social before, please say a me in the chat so this wonderful group of folks can give you a big welcome. Hi, Chris, Marissa, Casey, Tristan, lots of y'all. Jennifer, Deborah, we are honored to meet you. Alyssa's here. These socials are such a beautiful component of this Silken Sonder package, right? This great journal we have. But when you pair this journal and the prompts and the times together, you ultimately have found out that you've got a pretty good community in your world. Even though it's virtual, this is one of my favorite communities that I've ever been a part of. We're accountability buddies, so we hold each other accountable by logging in and picking these dates to sit with our journal, to sit with one another, and to dig in. So, sure, Alyssa, I'll go back. She wanted to see the little fall favorite affirmation slides. While we're looking at that, I'll invite you. If you see something on the screen that you're like, oh, I like that, or that I might try that sometime. Grab your phone, take a picture of it, or get your screen keys, to save to do a print screen and save that. And I know lots of you have folders with Silk and Saunders stuff in it, but I'm going to show you, you're invited to use your journal just as it is with the monthly setup. We tend to do those pages just as they are, but we've also got some alternate activities if something speaks a little louder for you. If you are here for the first time, I would also love to invite you to check out our weekly setup socials. There's always one on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday morning. And the Saturday and Sunday ones vary. Sometimes, it's Saturday morning and Sunday evening, or Saturday evening, Sunday morning. But always, jump into those, get some ideas for using the weekly setup pages in your journal. And you'll see that Katie's dropping the Eventbrite link there. So that'll take you right to the registration page so you can join that. Also, while we're talking, I want to be sure that I remind you that Tennessee people, you have an in person meetup coming down the pipe pretty soon. It'll be in just a little over a month. Bailey Grady, one of our Silk and Sonder facilitators, is going to be hosting an in-person event in that Tennessee area. So maybe you're traveling through or you live close. So yeah, we did one in Dallas several months ago, kind of late spring, and it was just really fun to gather with real people and meet some faces. But Katie dropped that in the chat. So if you wanted to get some more information, Bailey's kind of collecting that. So here we are looking at a brand new month. I want to know who are our Libra and Scorpio people out there who's celebrating a birthday this month. Chris is happy birthday. We want to tell y'all happy birthday. Maybe you have an anniversary. Maybe you have someone in your life who's very special to you. So October's extra special. But there's just some fun facts. I love that the October flowers are cosmos and marigolds because I can grow those. Those are things I'm successful with. Marissa, congratulations. We have a wedding coming up October 7th. Oh my gosh. In 17 days. I bet you're so excited. I hope you can sleep at night. That's exciting. So yeah, some fun stuff for the month. You might want to work some of those things in. I mean, it's National Pizza Month. You have full permission to go get yourself pizza every Friday if you want. So we just finished this month of bravery. It wasn't always fun. That was a tough theme. We were missing the theme of enchantment from August, that whimsy, fun, playful theme, and we jumped right into bravery. And I know some of you worked really, really hard and you tackled some stuff, right? If you weren't ready for it and you left some pages blank in September, that's okay. That journal's there. And when you're in a better headspace, you're invited to work on it then. Don't ever feel like you have to do it. Remember that this event, as well as all our other events, are being recorded. So you can always go to the YouTube channel. There is a search box in the Silk and Sonder channel, and you can put that theme in there, and it's going to say like resilience, bravery, and it'll cull those journal prompts, and you could maybe watch a recording when you're in a better headspace. Also, maybe you did everything and you're going to go through resilience, but in a couple of months, you might want to revisit some of those pages and do them like a sidekick journal, go back and redo those prompts and think about how they fit in to what's going on in your season of life. But I love, love, love this graphic because I know that, the past several socials that Katie and I've done these past few days, lots of folks have lots of hard things happening, things that are just tough. And I love this graphic because, when you're in the middle of climbing, climbing, climbing and going through it, and that cloud is above your head, you may not realize just how close you are to being done or to have your learnings come from that and realize I did it. I'm resilient. I'm brave. So this graphic spoke a lot to me. I'm going to use it all month because I really like it. We forget that, we've survived every single day that's been thrown our way. We are resilient. Every month, Mayha writes us a letter. I always say it's her love letter to the Sonder Club, and she kind of frames out like what she's thinking when this theme was chosen. A couple of things jumped out to me. It's resilience is what allows us to weather life's storms, to bend without breaking, and to keep moving forward even when the path feels uncertain. And it's also about trusting that no matter what life throws at us, we do have that inner strength. Sometimes it's hard to get to, but we've got it to not only survive, but to thrive. And when we go back and think about really tough times and we're done and we did it, and you can go back and look at all the lessons learned and be so proud of yourself. So those were a couple of things that jumped out for me. I do encourage you to read Mayha's letter. Also, I paired this slide with this letter because I think that when we can spend time with ourselves, be alone, and just enjoy our own company, it helps us become more resilient. We have to it is on page 2, Alyssa, and if y'all don't have your journal and you're waiting on it, just take notes tonight, and then you'll be able to access this. I mean, there were 4 monthly setups. So Katie did a couple, I did a couple. You'll be able to access those and maybe do a quick repeat if you want. But back to this self-care I did. Got solo time, taking care of self. We have to take care of ourselves first to really learn how to be resilient people. And so I paired that slide with the letter just as that reminder that there are some little things you can do to have like some self-care dates with yourself. And of course, we love the graphics from Positively Present. She is so talented. So, our agenda tonight, we're going to kick off our time together with an acrostic poem. Sometimes in your journal, we have an acrostic poem page printed. This month, it is not. So, you're going to be invited to find a space in your journal to do this response. We'll do the reflections from September, intentions from October, and then we'll set up those 2 trackers. My favorite one is that habit tracker. I love that. Also, throughout the social, I've got some little quotes that sort of lean into our theme. If you see something you like, write them down. Maybe you'll be putting those in your weekly reminders, or grab a screenshot of that. When we go over these slides and then you work, I will go back and forth through them again. So you'll be able to capture them if you don't quite get them the first time. So, the reason we do poetry every month is it is such a good way to use our brain in a very creative way. And so we're going to play around with words. We encourage you to turn to a blank page in your journal. Maybe you'll do this. I've got some other examples like the index page, the little notes section on the index page, resilience fits right there. We're going to free associate some words or phrases for resilience and create an acrostic poem. And remember, this is not language arts class, so this is you do you. You a pure acrostic is using that first letter of each, using the letter to inspire a word for each one of the letters. But if you want to embed resilience in the middle of a sentence, and the R is somewhere in the middle, that's okay. Nobody's judging. But you'll wanna maybe set up your page something like this with I almost said resistance, resilience down the page, and then I've got some examples to show you. So there's that notes page where this person wrote resilience, just down, where the page numbers might go, those little reminders. They did their poem there. There, we've got a couple of examples for you to see that. If resilience isn't quite hitting for you, we do have some synonyms that may, oh, Sierra, you thought it was a weekly. Well, no, we're done with weeklies, but we hope you stay and just hang out with us. We'd love to have the company. And then we've got those synonyms over there. So maybe you just want to do a short acrostic with the word grit. Take what you need. Tuesdays are tough days sometimes, but those words could also inspire some of the things that you put in your poem. Here are a couple of other examples from our Sonder family from previous socials this past weekend. And I love the one on the right because her name is Regina and she's written a note to herself with that letter R. Regina, you are energetic, and then continued on. So I love that. If your name starts with R, not do that. Go with that. A couple more examples there. Now, if an acrostic poem is not for you, that's okay. This is your journal. I've got the haiku reminder if you want to create a haiku, or if you've already gone to a monthly setup and you want to do another activity, you could try a haiku. You could work on your definition of what on page 3 of what resilience means to you. I tend to make word clouds for my definitions. Lots of folks will write a letter to September telling it goodbye or hit the road or and then a welcome note to October. So you could spend a little time doing that. Or a letter saying goodbye to summer and hello to fall. We've got this season, this change that's coming. Think about small moments that make you feel resilient. Maybe you can work that in a poem or just do a little brain dump. You could also go back and read Mayhew's letter and maybe highlight some of the words that jump out, some of the phrases that really strike you personally. Or you could maybe sit and pick out all your markers and colored pencils and stickers that you're going to use for the rest of the month. This is your time. I'll give you a little bit of time to set this up and we'll work on this and then we'll get going with the rest of our setup. Feel free to share your poem in the chat. right. Thank you to those of you who were comfortable sharing in the chat. We appreciate that because that's very inspirational to see what you're thinking about this month's theme. Thank you for embracing the idea of kind of plugging into a part of the brain that you might not normally, use. That's so good for you. And yeah, we've got that mindset of being resilient and moving forward. So, I know some of you are not quite ready. You don't have your journal yet, but you're waiting on it. So take lots of notes tonight, and feel free to do any of these responses on a piece of paper. You'll be able to see the examples, and you can, just jot it down. We are going to kick off our time here in our journal looking over those reflections from September, the wins, the challenges, and those most favorite moments that we had. So I'm going to invite you. Whoopsie, let's see. Turn to page 8, where you'll find those reflections. And I love this graphic. September is almost over. I'm still processing August with pending tasks for May. That's so me. So I love that. Now, I would like to invite you to do this page in two sections, if you don't mind. We're going to work on the top section, our wins, our challenges, and our favorite moments, and then we'll come back together and talk about that start, stop, and continue space. So first, let's look at our wins from the month. Those things that made you smile, the challenges maybe you overcame. And you can say that they're a win now, and you're very proud because you have this accomplishment. You've got it behind you. Things that made you smile. The challenges, of course, are the things that didn't go right, things that were out of your control, maybe people in your life, maybe there's some stumbling blocks. And then, of course, just the favorite part of September. What were those favorite moments? And I love this reflection because I tend to ruminate on the stuff that goes wrong. And when I sit with intention on this page and really think through the month, I am reminded that a lot of good stuff also happened. So I like being able to put a lot of power into this paper by seeing that balance, because we know life is that mixed bag. So to do this page, you may want to go back and look at your Rosebud Thorn Reflections, which is that weekly reflection that we do from week to week to week. You might also pick up your phone and go back through, what did you take pictures of? Scroll through your calendar. Where did you go? What were your appointments? Who did you have meetings with? And I always like to say too, sometimes your credit card statement could tell you maybe about those challenges that happened. But I sure do like this little graphic. It says, one day you'll look back and realize you survived the month that you thought would break you. You carried the weight you thought would crush you, and you kept going because grace kept carrying you. Thought that was a lovely way to frame out September, especially if it was a little bit tough. So let me put on a little bit of music while you work on this reflection. And if anything comes up that you feel comfortable sharing, where you might need a little support or you want us to celebrate with you, like those weddings that we're all looking forward to for our Sonder family, feel free to drop that in the chat as well. I hope that you found this exercise powerful in being able to reflect back over the month. There's lots of highs, lots of wonderful things to celebrate. And I feel like there's a lot of you who are tired and you need rest. So remember, rest is an activity. Be sure that you are putting that somewhere in your journal as you set up your week to week. Be sure you're taking care of yourself. So now let's drop down to the bottom part of this page, that start, stop, and continue box. And I really like this space because I kind of look at it as the compass for what our October is going to look like. Like when we start thinking about what do we want to stop doing, those things that are not serving us, it really helps us with our goal setting. Do we have some new things we want to put into our life? Some things that we want to start doing to get just, better results. And then we're doing a lot of stuff right. And so we can take a moment to reflect on what we're going to take forward into October and continue to do because we've tried some things and we found a good rhythm and routine. So when we look at these boxes, you can just, write, here's what I want to start, here's what I want to stop. But we do have some tips for maybe taking this a little one step further and asking yourself some questions within it. Lots of our Sonder family members will do this. They'll say, what is it that I want to start? They put that, and then they ask themselves why. And they get that reasoning behind it. So there's a lot of intention, and then how am I gonna do it? What are my plans? What are the steps to make that happen? And and by committing to that, you're getting very specific and you're going to be able to meet that challenge, right? You're going to be able to, if you look at the one up at the top, they're kind of doing a theme for the month and they're really focusing on health and wellness. And so, what are they going to stop? It says what? Stop eating so late. Why? Not healthy, hurting my weight loss. How? No food after 7 p.m. So, very specific instructions to self. And now that could show up on that habit tracker or the weekly habit tracker where you're doing that check-in and that reminder because you're sort of setting the table to be successful with that. We've got a couple other examples. Um, same kind of thing. What is it? Why do I want to change it? And how am I going to do it? What are those steps to take? I've got some ideas for you if you wanted to focus on a single area of growth, maybe a relationship with someone, perhaps finances, education. You could really pinpoint the space into, one thing in your life. And then also this space is really great to repurpose by using this idea of thinking about what's happening in with our emotions and where we are. And so this is from our Silk and Sonder Instagram a long, 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 long time ago, but it's so powerful. You can see that this example on the upper part of the screen, we have changed the boxes to say, I feel this because of, and then they write about why they're feeling that way. And then that's telling me what I need or what I want. And so that's a really beautiful way of kind of doing this reflection. And then we take that forward into our habit setups, our intentions for the month. So let's take just a few moments to work on these spaces. Feel free to share in the chat, what's coming up for you, maybe what you're considering for your start, stop, and continue spaces. Some of y'all have some very powerful celebrations, and you should be really proud of yourself for meeting those goals that you had and bringing those forward into this month about how you want to set that month up, taking it with you. I love that, Janine, being a lifelong learner, and so you're gonna embrace things in your journal to do that. So when you get stuck and you're looking at your week to week and you're trying to kind of set yourself up, go back and look at this page. I think this is such a great jumping off point for how we align our weeks with what we said we wanted for the month. So now we're going to turn and look at those October intentions. This is on page 9. If you're waiting on your journal, these are the 6 categories that are written on this intention page. And the first thing I'm going to tell you is you don't have to do all 6, right? If something's not speaking to you, or this is your very first time to kind of embrace this idea of setting a monthly intention in each of these areas, maybe choose the top 4 that are speaking to you and look at that. I have a lot of really great examples from our Sonder family to share with you. Additionally, if there is, one of these boxes, like you're thinking, I don't really need spiritual health, change that up, change it up to fit your life and what you have going on. Some ways of setting our intention page up. Of course, we can really embrace the theme of the month, resilience, and you can think about what resilience would look like in each of these life areas. Focus on self love or self talk, kind of that like one area. Sometimes people will put song lyrics or song titles, book titles to inspire this page. You could ask yourself, how do I want to feel for each one of these areas and answer that question. Um, Stickers, colors, images, whatever you want. Some people will draw their intentions, they'll do little doodles. Now I really like the idea of the duality of one thing to bring in and one thing to let go. That kind of balance thing, say yes to, say no to. So let's take a look at some examples. Now, here's some of the special stuff this month. We were laughing really hard last night because we didn't many of us just found out that there was a World Menopause Month. And then we were like, oh, a flash mob, a hot flash mob. But there's a lot of really powerful days that perhaps these days will drive your intentions. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Have you set your screening appointments, right? Maybe that goes under your physical health box. It's National Principals Month. I know that we've got some educators in the crowd. The ADHD color is orange, so perhaps we embrace that color in how we set up our journal. So, yeah. So, here's a couple of great examples of that duality. So, you can see the one on the left, they want more of using resources to get help and less guilt. And they've renamed that top box mental health. Their money management space there at the bottom, they've renamed to home management because that's the area that they want to work on. So that more and less, the one on the right with those beautiful leaves, those are so much fun. They're going to do something to let go of and something to lean into. When writing these intentions, I always say less is more. Like keep it simple. Keep these kind of broad. We've got some crystal balls there, and you can see they have used one word to embrace the intention for that area of their life, and it's very magical looking with this spooky month of Halloween. Um, the one on the left, it looks like a little envelope, right? And in the top corner or the top flap or that top triangle, they have their very basic plans, their intentions, and then they've given themselves some action items of how they're going to make that happen. Some of those action items now may show up in their monthly tracker or their weekly setup. This one on the I love this. This one on the left completely changed every box to meet what they need for that month. And then the one on the right, this person posted it in Sonder Club the other day. I don't know if you saw it, but they used a cookie cutter, traced, and then wrote around that just to kind of embrace the season and a little bit of creativity, and then glued that page down. So I love that. Again, keeping things simple. Look at the one on the right. It's just be and one word. We see some fun little doodles on the left. So if you're very artistic, that's good to embrace for your creativity. So let me put on some music while you work on setting your intentions. Feel free to share in the chat. And if you're sitting there and you're like, I'm not quite sure what I want to do here, here's what I'm feeling, drop that in the chat and maybe we can help you come up with the words. And then I always say when the words don't come, sometimes there's stickers that will speak for that. Put a sticker in there. But yeah, let's work on these together. Christina brought up a really great point that maybe you look at your last month's intentions, and if they are still ringing true and that's still what you're desiring for the month, just bring those forward. There's no reason to reinvent if it's still, top of mind and ringing true for you. Some of you are changing up some of the spaces. You're using that to guide your life. I was saying I always change professional goals to learning goals. I want to make sure that I challenge myself each month in some different ways, so that always gets changed. And oftentimes one of these spaces might, like, usually personal life will either be like hobbies and getting creative or my yard and garden. It kind of depends on, what time of year it is. So now let's get those trackers set up. I love the trackers. They can really, really help us, especially when maybe we're thinking about this mood tracker and what it can show. One of my favorite stories, we're going to be on page 10, by the way. Flip over to page 10. Um, Maya, one of our other facilitators, talks about the time that someone shared that her husband said, "You're always in a bad mood." And she went and got her mood tracker and opened it up, and she said, "No, I'm not. Look." And she showed him, the moods that she had been tracking for that month, and she had the data to show. So I love this mood tracker because it can really help us understand what's going on in our life, and when we're made aware of those things, they can be a catalyst for change. We can find things that we can change up in our life so that things show up better. We show up better for ourselves. So we have this feelings wheel, and these 6 feelings, you can see them on the inside of the wheel as well as around the outside of the wheel. Those are like the 6 basic feelings, and then the further you go out, the more detailed you get with those different types of feelings or moods. And so if you're doing a mood tracker for the very first time, you might want to start with those 6 basic ones: joy, love, fear, anger, sadness, and surprise. But as you get more aware of what you're tracking, you might go deeper into that feelings wheel and really hone in. Now, Hannah is sharing that this has never resonated with her. And Maya, who I was speaking about earlier, said, "I have too many moods to track. It just wouldn't work for me." I also don't use the mood tracker. I repurpose it, and I'm going to show you some examples of ways you can use your mood tracker if you're not going to track your emotions. So this is a new graphic that Katie and I discovered this month, and we love it. And it's kind of like one of the a chart, where you go across and down. So if you are feeling fearful, but you also fear joy, then that equates to excitement. Or if you're feeling anger and resentment, or feeling anger and sadness, that could be looked at as resentment. We thought that was kind of cool. So you might want to grab a little screenshot of that if it's speaking to you, all those, happy little joy and sadness. And I love the inside out stuff. So anyway, that's kind of fun. Yes, Katie says we love a good visual. And I'll go back and forth between these. So you'll see that again as we're working on this. So again, choose, like, you could do those 6 basic feelings, maybe a neutral feeling. You can maybe look at, am I feeling resilient this month, and respond to that in this mood tracker. I am going to suggest that perhaps you outline the days that are kind of different from the majority of your days. For example, if you work Monday through Friday, maybe your weekends, you just kind of draw a line around those days, because you are in a completely different environment. And that's another way to get data about your moods, right? And you might be like, "Oh, I'm only in a bad mood when I'm at work, but my weekends are great." But it's a way to get more information. So we have 2 mood trackers that will show up in your journal. Generally speaking, the months that have 31 days is going to be the round one. So that's what you're seeing this month. But if you're brand new, and then you get like November hits and you're like, "Wait, this one's different." It's going to be one of these, that it's either going to be the hexagon or the circle. There they are, all filled out. You can see, there's not a right way or wrong way. You can use stickers, you can just scribble, you can just check in. Here's some examples of folks tracking their moods and how they're doing it with stickers, with coloring in. I like the little faces. That's kind of fun. The one that you see sort of on the right on the bottom, they're only tracking three emotions, and they're also going to track their energy level, and so that will help them sort of pair up what's going on. Like, ooh, my energy's medium and I feel balanced, or my energy is high and I was feeling manic that day. So they're going to do the emotions with flowers and then use a color code around the edge of that space to know what their energy level was like. Again, a way to collect more data on self. These are beautiful. I do not use a lot of color in my journal. I'm very, my little black pen, except for the coloring page. But you can see how folks have set this up, and you can notice the one on the right. You can see that there are days outlined, which are weekends. And so this person is paying attention to how they may be feeling on a weekend versus a weekday. There's that tracker wheel again. I wanted to throw that in there. And now let's look at ways to repurpose this if you don't think that the mood tracker is for you. You have too many moods, there's no way you're going to track them all, or you want to do something different. So lots of folks can use it as your daily affirmation tracker, anxiety levels, depression tracker. You track your depression levels, energy level. Maybe you rate your day on a scale. Maybe how you feel at the end of the day, like an end of the day check in. So here's some examples. The one over there on the right is actually a mood boost tracker. So just that intentionality of having like this menu of things to do. I'm going to eat a fruit or vegetable. I'm going to go for a ride. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to listen to music. I'm going to take a nap. And they are tracking those things that boosted how they were feeling. An anxiety tracker like the one you see in the upper left. That is from Facilitator Bailey. A calm tracker, a spending tracker. Maybe you're going to see where how much money you're spending day to day, and are your weekends up? This could be paired very well with that financial intention you might have just set. Or maybe, you'll come and have some no spend days, but you've got this data like right in front of you. Especially with the holidays, that could be a good one. Now, this is also a great place to track your symptoms. Maybe you are paying attention to something that's going on in your body and you put all of this in one space. What's beautiful about that is then you've got this data to carry into your provider, your healthcare provider, because it's all in one space. So, depending on what you're tracking, what symptoms you're tracking, that could be a really great way to do that. I use mine as a book tracker. And so both of those on the bottom left are former trackers of mine. And when I don't track the pages read, but when I pick that book up, I put the title there and I color that in. Maybe you need a workout tracker or an activity tracker to track your steps or what kind of workouts you're doing. Are you doing like the one in the very middle, strength, cardio, walk, yoga? So you can put your different types of working out there. Maybe you just rate your day, right, on a scale of. So lots of fun ways to repurpose. Here's a step tracker on the left. And I've always loved this one. And a lot of times it shows up when I do this monthly setup because this person's whole tracker is themed to how to start the day in a good mood tracker. And so if they have 6 items on there, if they do all 6 of these things on that day, they give themselves that dark sticker. If they only get one thing, it gets a gray sticker. And so they've put what they're going to do. Awake by 5, do my affirmation, drink a glass of water, do my daily ritual, move my body, and get a healthy breakfast. So they're wanting to really be intentional with that start of the day. So I love that. I get out of rhythms and routines in my retirement. So that's a really great idea for me to embrace. So let's kind of set this up. I'll go back through all these slides so you can grab those mood tracker, the feelings wheel, get some words for that, and then share what you do if you repurpose, especially. Let us know what you're going to be using this tracker for. love it when y'all drop in the chat that you've tried XYZ and that it worked for you and now you've tried something else. Thank you for sharing that. We're going to jump over now to page 11, which is our monthly habit tracker. I love, love, love this tracker. This is a great one to pair with that start, stop, and continue box. If you want, go take a look at that on page 8. What did you put there? Maybe something shows up on this habit tracker to support those things. Again, you can use resilience as that focus for this whole tracker, or pick another thing like grounded or calm or joy. For me, this month, this tracker is being used for my evening routine, and then I'm putting in the weekday trackers my morning routines because I've just gotten all off on my routines. And so this is the month to recheck that. You can continue what's working for you, bring those forward, give yourself a couple of wins. Don't put a whole thing of brand new habits here. That's not, we want you to be successful. So, if you make your bed every morning, put that on there, that first line, and you've already got a win, right? And it makes you turn to that page and check that off. So lots of ways to fill this in. The mandalas are beautiful. I do a black check. I'm not real fancy with mine, but you can see the example there on the right. We have indicated what days are weekends by drawing around that. You may give yourself the weekend off. You may decide I'm not going to worry about weekends. That's okay. This is what you need. I love to see them filled out. I love to notice that sometimes there are blank spaces. Don't feel guilty about blank spaces because that is also data you have. And that means your day didn't go as planned. And it just gives you that feedback. You don't need to feel badly about something not happening. You can say, oh, yeah, I remember Wednesday was tough and I didn't do any of these things. So be gentle with yourself. You can see a couple, you don't have to do every line filled out. There's the example on the left. They're tracking 3 things this month. The weekends are indicated over on the habit tracker on the right. And I also like how they did little marks to check their pens to make sure that they kind of match the colors and that they love that. Let's see, a couple more completely filled out. The ones on the right are some of mine, and you can see I did 3 habits in the morning and 3 habits in the evening, and just worked it out that way. The one on the left, this is the end of the month. They totaled it up, but I want you to notice that the days that something didn't happen, they still acknowledged it, and by like doing those little hash marks in there. So they're just like that. These things didn't happen those days. It's okay. Just data. Remember, this isn't a bingo, and so blackout is not the only way to win. We are giving ourselves, grace if we miss some days. And finally, there's some habit tracker suggestions if you're looking to try something new. Let's put on a little bit of music and tell us, what are you tracking this month? I love that Hannah put in the chat that on the days that she doesn't accomplish those particular habits, she just puts a little heart. She gives herself a little bit of love, a little bit of extra grace on those days. So, Sonder family, you've done a great job of getting yourself set up for the month of October for finishing the summer with a bang and embracing a new season of fall. We would love to see your setup in Sonder Club, but also if you have an Instagram account, if you put it in your account and tag us at Silk and Sonder, you might just see it show up in the Silk and Sonder account. We want to also shout out the October exclusive. There's a nominal fee associated with it, but we are going to be doing a session on exploring our childhood wounds. I just heard on a news program, I think yesterday, that adulthood is we're spending our whole adulthood recovering from our childhood. So I think that one's going to be a great theme for resilience. And there is our playlist tonight. And I wish you sweet dreams, Sonder family. Thank you for joining the former Team Texas, Katie and myself, and make it a great, great month.
At first I was afraid, I was petrified. Kept thinking I could never live without you by my side. But then I spent so many nights